Hello guys, hope you're all doing well. Welcome to Konidena Classroom. This is your wait. For those of you who don't know about me, let me give you an introduction. Okay, so I'm Ranjit Kumar. I'm a data enthusiast who loves to play around with the data. Okay, start from cleaning, processing the data, and just getting a lot of information, not just with the computer, but also in everyday life. Yes, true. So I utilize data science concepts in every single day of my life. Okay, that just saves my time. Trust me. The moment you start learning data science and you apply that in real life, you will just go to places. Okay. So, anyway, in today's class, we'll be learning a stepping stone for data science. So, when you say stepping stone, what does it mean? It means we're going to learn Python program. So, data science, as we discussed in the roadmap, that there are plenty of things that we need to learn. Okay. Start from Python and then SQL. We also learn about statistics and then machine learning, right? And then deep learning. Okay, machine learning has two different aspects. Deep learning has one different aspect, and then AI, and then we'll jump into some, predictive use cases and then projects along the way. Okay, but we're not going to stop there for sure. Okay, so in this class, I'll be telling you the importance of how you can utilize Python, okay, in the data science. Okay, because I can break down the entire data science thing into a way where data science is all about just, using statistics. Okay, data science is just understanding data, okay, using the statistical part, okay, and you can try to get some insights out of it. For example, if you just say the sales of a company versus the advertisement, okay, so if a company spends over some amount of dollars in advertisement and also you have sales coming up. So let's say previous month I have invested somewhere around $500, okay, in advertisement. And for those advertisement, is there a sales that has been increased or not? So to take a guess on that, we use data. Okay. Now, if we have a data that we already used long back, that we already collected long back, and the same pattern is going to somewhat exhibit now itself, then we can just analyze how data is playing around, and then we can guess what's going to happen next. I know it's just sounds easier, but no, it is a little bit of a tricky concept because in order to build the entire Burj Khalifa, you need a lot of pavements and you need a lot of basement to be strong about it, right? So that's what we're going to learn. So in this class, we'll be dwelling completely on one such tool that's going to take you to places, okay, after you learn it, okay, not just in data science, but also in a lot of other tech related activities. Okay, so that is Python. So we'll start with Python and then we'll move further with other tools, other concepts, and other projects. Okay, so why are we wasting time? Let's get started. Okay, so let me present my screen. As you can see here, this is my PPT. Okay, but trust me, Python is something that I will teach you not just like a theoretical way, but also more of practical way. Okay, because I believe that there should be around like 70-30% of split between practicality and reality. Okay, so actually both are almost the same, but I could say the more you practice, the less theory that you will try to want to hear from other person because you will figure out the theory by yourself. Okay, but I'm here to help you with all of those things. Okay, so introduction to Python. So for those of you who know already what Python is, right, you guys are great. Okay, for those of you who don't know, doesn't mean you're not great. You are actually very, very great because you're going to learn it from me, right? So, and you're going to learn a fresh start. Okay. So Python is often is just a programming language, just a programming language. Now, people might be thinking, what actually is a programming language, right? Because when I was, your age, okay, I was just thinking, programming language, okay, fine. First of all, I'm from a non-technical background, okay. I have done my physics, chemistry, and mathematics, and then from there I transitioned to data science. Okay, I know it's non-technical to a technical is a little bit of complicated, but trust me, the only thing that was there in my way was Python. The moment I learned Python, it was very easy. Trust me, it was very, very easy. Okay, so now, so you don't have to worry about non-technical, technical. Could I learn this? Data science, could I take it up? I'm not sure. All those questions you should not have because you should be lucky that you're learning data science. Okay. That you will figure it out the moment you come at least 25% if you finish 25% of your syllabus. Okay. Now, as I was saying, Python programming or any programming language is just a language similar to how we can communicate right now. So I'm communicating with you using English, right? So we are speaking in terms of English. So that's a language, okay? Then what is programming language? Programming language is also a language. Then what is why it is used, right? So programming language is similar to any other language, but that is just to talk to your computer, not to another human being. By the way, you can talk to another human being using Python program, but you will convey any kind of instructions that you want your computer to follow through a program. Okay. So to build a program of such, you need a language. And there are many language use cases for many purposes. Okay. So one of that is Python programming. So what is Python? So Python is just a programming language. It's a very popular programming language, as you know, and it is built by Guido van Rossum. So this guy right over here, his name is called Guido van Rossum, and he was the one who built Python. But he's not just the one who built Python. It was so many people in his team as well, okay, who dedicated their time in building this programming language. Okay, so this guy, Guido van Rossum, around like 1980s, he had an idea that, I can build my own programming language. Okay. So he built it, he conceptualized it, but he needed a team. So he worked in Google. Okay. He got his team, and during around like 1991, he released the first ever version of Python. Okay. He released the first ever version of Python code. But for like the moment it released, right, people started asking, okay, bro, you invented a programming language. That's great. But what is Python? Why did you name a snake? Why did you like name a programming language as a snake name? Why? And then when I was starting out, I thought Python is inspired because of a snake, but that's not true. Okay, it's actually inspired. He used to be a fan of this, um, like Monty Python's Flying Circus. That's the name of the circus. Okay, that he used to visit. So he was a very big fan of that. Okay, Monty Python's Flying Circus, and from there he saw Python and he just took it up. Okay, so that's how the name is invented. Okay, you don't have to worry about like was he having a pet called Python, okay, a snake pet, and it died eventually, and then he had to name it because he was emotional. No, okay, I used to believe that, so I'm just creating it. Okay, so that's not true. It happened because of Monty Python's Flying Circus. Okay, now you might be wondering why I'm teaching you a little bit of history, right? Because whenever you start something, you should know the root where it started, right? So this is where the root it started as. So this is how Python was invented. Okay. Now we know Python is invented. That's great by this guy and everything. But why Python is actually preferred? Okay. So there are several terminologies that you can notice here. Okay, that involves high level, interpreted, interactive, and so on. But trust me, instead of reading through every single point over here, I would have to stick to only 3 points, which you will understand as a beginner right now. And the moment we finish around like 20% of our Python, you will get to know why the remaining parts is. Because the first thing that I'm going to teach you here is going to be the basics, and then we'll come back to few of the terminologies. Okay. Now, Python is a high level language. Okay. And Python is an interpreted language. So what's the difference? So Python is called high level language because it's built in a way where its structure comes as a top notch. Okay, so it's a high level language. And Python is an interpreted language because you would have known two things that exist in the programming world called as compiler, interpreter. Two things. Okay, compiler, interpreter. So compiler is one different thing, interpreter is one different thing, but Python is built using interpreter. So that's why we call it as an interpreted language. Okay. And it's more of interactive language because the moment you read the program, you will just be like, oh, this is easy only. This is not difficult. Trust me, it's highly interactive. And if you want to change anything in the code, you can change it because it's very easy for you to understand. Okay. Now, this is the terminology that I won't explain you right away. Okay, but we'll come back to that. By the way, this is called OOPS. Okay, and that's OOPS full form is object oriented programming. Okay, and Python is highly readable. Okay, so the moment I show you a simple code, you will definitely understand that it is highly readable. Okay, because it's just English. It's just English. Okay, if you read an English paragraph, won't you read it? You will, right? So similar to that, if you read a program, you will get at least around like 45% of what the code is doing. So it's English. Okay, and it has something called as a syntax. Okay, so, but in Java and all other programming languages, the syntax is a complicated thing that used to be there. But here in Python, the syntax is a very minimal thing, very simple, fewer syntax only. Okay. So these are all the reason why Python is preferred. Okay. So you can note down any 3 or 4 points from this. Okay. And those 4 points could be it's an interpreted language. It's Python is English keywords and it is highly readable and it has a very few syntax. 4 points, more than enough. Okay. And the next part is the advantage and the disadvantage. So what's the advantage and disadvantage? So the moment you choose a the moment you choose a programming language, you will always have to wonder one thing. One is there any disadvantage of using this? Right? So advantage, I'll tell you. Okay, advantages, it has a clearly defined syntax. What is syntax? What does syntax mean? Yeah. So syntax is nothing but the structure of the code. Okay, a structure it has to follow. Okay, and the structure in Python is easier to understand than Java. For those of you who learned Java, you would have known. Okay. And it has its own IDLE. IDLE doesn't mean idli. Okay, it's not idli. IDLE is a different thing. Okay. IDLE is a software where you can code, which Python people itself invented. Okay. Python people only, hey, I'm just releasing Python right now. Python is a programming language. And if you want to code, I'll give you a software. Take the software, code here, like that. So they gave their own IDLE. It's advantage only. Okay. And Python is preferred because it's simply mathematical problem solving. It's highly just maths. You can use maths and you can do a lot of things with maths. Okay. So it's for mathematical problem solving. Okay. And the next part is disadvantage. Disadvantage is that Python is slow in speed, a little bit slow in speed. Okay. For a smaller code, you might think it's running fast, but for a big code, it will usually takes time. Okay. And you can't code it in mobile, bro. It's not that possible. Okay. You can, but it is very weak, I could say. Okay. And that's it. So these are the advantage and disadvantage of Python. Okay. And these are all the different Python versions that exist so far. Okay. And these are all very few things that you need to know. You don't have to worry about the features, but I'll tell you because these are the reason why most of the people now today are learning Python. Okay, that includes you as well. Okay, so the reason why Python is highly useful because of its feature. One is easy to read, which you already know, and easy to learn also. You will definitely know that it is very easy to learn and it is portable. Portable means you can use Python in many of the different softwares and make it run. Okay. And yeah, it will be very much feasible for you guys. Okay. And it has a broad standard library. This is one of the high main reason why Python is preferred. Broad standard library. That means you can think of library as a collection of books. Okay. Let's say each book performs one simple one complicated work or a simple work also. Okay. If each book can perform good work, okay, you have a bunch of books in a library, okay, which you can use for your day-to-day life. Okay. So, or for data analysis. So that's why it's preferred. Python feature is one of the broad standard library. Okay. So the next part is now I told you Python is actually nothing but an interpreted language. So if I have a code and if I run it, what's actually is happening? What's actually happening behind the scenes? Okay, BTS. Okay, not Korean, but behind the scenes. So what's actually happening? So let's say I take a code of Python. I just run it. Okay, the source code, I run it, and the code is actually going to a compiler. But wait, compiler? You told interpreted language, but where is compiler coming from? Yes, you should definitely have that question. First of all, interpreter is nothing but an extension of compiler. Okay, you will have compiler in it, and that will be an extrapolated to interpreter. Okay, so you see, a code actually goes to compiler. Compiler is where it's going to compile all these information, all this code, and it will convert it into a byte code. Okay, it generates a binary file because computer can't understand hi, hello, and all. But what it does understands is a binary language, 0 1 0 1 like that, right? So your code also is getting converted into zeros ones. So that's a byte code, binary file, and that is going to get run with a machine. In this case, I have put virtual machine. It can also be a local machine. Okay, and then that local machine, if it wants any modules, it can use, or else it cannot, but it will run the code. So this is why it is called as an interpreted language. Okay, isn't that cool? So I hope you guys understood how the flow of running in Python works. Okay, so it starts from a code is run, and then it goes to compiler, and from compiler it converts into a byte code, and then from byte code it goes to machine. In the machine, it can use library modules and it can run the entire code. Okay. So I want you guys to take a screenshot. Okay. If you guys have a good photographic memory, take a screenshot of this in your mind and never forget this because this is very important. Okay. Because you need to know what's happening behind the scenes. Right. So next, you don't have to worry about this. So now I'll show you one of the cool part of Python. Okay. Let me show you through a practical way. As I told you already, this class might be a little bit of introduction to Python. So you'll have a few of the things related to Python like this. Okay, few things, which is completely okay. Okay, because later onwards I'll be doing more of practical only, and you'll be begging for theory. Okay, so anyway, now you guys are sure, right? You guys know what you have learned right away. Okay. And when you're listening to my class, I expect you guys to learn it in the class itself so that you can chill out afterwards. Okay. So I told you about the history and then why Python is preferred. Okay. And then the advantages, disadvantages, and then the versions, features, and then how it actually runs behind the scenes. Okay. Now, so I'm going to teach you something called as mode of execution. And today it's possible that Python is actually great because of this one added advantage. Okay, I'll show you what it is. It is also there in Java, but I'll show you it's better in Python. Okay, so to show that, let me go to Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so I'm exactly in Jupyter Notebook right now. You know how Jupyter Notebook works. Okay, Jupyter Notebook is a software that is used for Python programming. Okay, and it is there in the local system itself. Okay, it is also there in the as a server. Okay, online also it's there. That's called Jupyter Lab. But this is Jupyter Notebook, which I have downloaded in my local laptop. Okay, now let me go to some documents. Okay, I'll go inside this. And let's say I want to create a new file. Okay. Let's say I want to create a new file. Now, I created a new file. New file is a new Python file. Now, in this, I can run anything. For example, there is a code. Okay. A is equals to, let's say, 2, and then B is equals to 3. Yeah. To run this, I can run using this or shift enter. I did shift plus enter and it ran. Oh, I need to type the sum is equals to A plus, or it's not capital A, it's A plus B. Okay. And then I'll type sum, I'll get the output. Don't worry about the coding. Okay. Don't worry about the coding. So now I just typed something here and the sum is nothing but the addition of these two and I'm getting the sum is 5. Okay. Which is good. Good. But there is one more thing that we can do. Okay. So let's say I write a code right now. Okay. Don't worry about the code. Okay. So I write a code typically. So the code is called add off. Okay. And inside the code, I'm going to type, let's say, I'm going to give a comma b. Okay. And instead of adding it as a function, I think it's better if I give it like this. Let's say a is equals to int of input of. Don't worry about the coding. I'll tell you why. Don't worry about the coding. Okay. So what do you guys think will happen? If I run this, it's asking me for enter a number. Okay. Enter your number is what it is asking. So let me enter a number. I'll put 12. Okay. And I ran it and it just gave me an output. Okay. Just give me a second, guys. Yes, guys. So I'm back. Anyway, so what were we doing? We were doing this one. Yeah. So let's imagine. Okay. So I just give a, which is just asking me for a number. Okay. Enter your number. And I say 1. So a right now is 1. Okay. A is right now 1. And similarly, I have put b. Okay. Don't worry much about the coding. I'll tell you why. So input of, and I'm going to type the same thing again. Okay, enter the number. And then I'll do, oh, there's one bracket that's missing. And then let's say I put not some, add equals a plus b. And then add. Okay. So now I'm going to run this. It's asking me something right now. Okay, it's just asking me something. So let me actually, do this. So let's say I type 1, okay, and then it's asking me for another number, and I type 2, and then I got the output 3. So that means it's whatever I am doing here, I'm literally doing coding. But where? Where am I coding? I'm coding in the Jupyter notebook. Okay, I'm just coding here. This is called mode of execution. Okay, so coding right here in the same folder in here itself is called direct mode. Okay, it's called direct mode of execution because I'm writing my entire code here. I'm running it here itself in this cell itself. Okay. And the moment I ran it, I got the output 3. And if I don't want this output, I can give another number here. I can change it here itself. So this type of execution is called direct mode. Okay. But there's also one more way that we can do it. That is going to be, let's say I create a new text file. Okay. And I name that file as sum. Okay. I name that file as sum. And I'm going to open that file. And let's say in this file, I want to put the same code. Okay. Mm. So I'm putting the same code here, right over here. Okay. There is this problem, but it's okay. Okay. I'm putting the same code right over here. But this is a txt file. So let's say I change this txt file to a .py and I rename it. Okay. Now something just happened and I just named it as sum.py and I'm going to save this file. To save it, I can just do Control S. It said last checkpoint is 4 seconds ago. That means I have saved it. Okay. Now I go here. Okay. And I'm just going to do something. I'm just going to add a new cell and I'm just doing import sum. Okay. And the moment I run, it's asking me for something. What is this? What just happened? So what happened is I had a code here. Okay. This code I typed in this particular page, right? And I ran it, I got the output 3. But this code right now, I just stored it in a file called sum.py. Okay, sum.py is the name of the file. I saved the same entire code, and the moment I just typed import sum is what? Sum is the name of this file. See, sum.py. Sum is the name of this file. So I'm using this script this particular file, this file, okay, here, I'm using this script or this file here to run the code. And now it's asking me to enter a number. I'll type 1 and it is again asking me for to enter the number. I'll type 2 and it's not giving me the yeah. So because I didn't put print off. So see, I wanted to change something here and I just did. Okay, I just did. And to make it reflect here, I'm running it again. Oh, it's not working. It's not saved, I guess, for sure. It's not saved. Okay, let me see. No. But basically, what happens is if you could save the entire code of A, B, and add inside another file and use that file to run here, okay, that type of execution is called indirect mode. Okay, indirect mode of execution, guys. I hope you guys understood. Okay, so there are typically two types of execution. One is direct mode, the other one is indirect mode. So direct mode is me coding in this file itself, in this file. And if I want to make any changes, I can make it here only. See, I can make this change. Enter. I can make the change. I'll get the here only. Okay. So I made the change here. This is direct. I'm creating code here and I'm changing it here only. That's called direct mode of execution. But if I just store that code in some other file and use that file, import that file here, okay, that's called indirect mode of execution. Okay. And Python is one of the best programming language because of its easy peasy indirect mode of execution. The reason why people use this is, let's say you don't want to create this code right now because you already have it and you saved it in a file. Okay. In this time, it's just addition, bro. Imagine if you're doing some front end, let's say you want to create a website and the website code will be more than this. It will be definitely lot of programming code there, right? This entire thing, you can just store it in a file and you can call that file here. So that's why it's used. That's why indirect mode of execution is highly used. Okay. So now you guys understood there are two types of mode of execution, which I'll show you right away. And yeah. So direct mode is actually called as interactive mode of programming. Interactive because it's highly, if there is any mistake, you can just go here and you can just change it because that's there in the same file, same script itself. Okay. So that's direct mode. Another one is indirect mode. We also call that as a script file. Script is another file that you are storing. Okay. So you understood, right? So there are two types of mode of execution, direct and indirect mode. Great. Now, after this, yeah, this is how the example of that is going to work, and we displayed it, right? And now, so we just finished a little bit of basics about Python programming. Okay. Now we're going to dwell ourselves into a very most interesting thing that you will learn in Python called tokens in Python. So what are tokens? Tokens means, let's say, bro, you want to learn a language. Okay. So you want to learn a language. If you want to learn a language, you'll always start with words, right? You will always start with words. It will be like, let's say, if I want to learn Telugu, you will be like, what is Bhojanam means, right? Or what is Vastanu means, right? And there are a few other things in Telugu, right? Uh, what does Taggedele means, right? So you will always start with words, right? Similarly, if you want to create a programming, you need to give out some sort of words which you and the computer will know. Okay, so that's called tokens in Python. It's like how a human being has a very small unit of cell. Okay, similar to that, a programming language has a very small unit. And the smallest individual unit in a program is called as tokens. Okay, smallest individual unit. Okay, so we call it as tokens in Python. So there are four different type of, sorry, five different types of tokens in Python. Okay, that involves keywords, identifiers. You guys read it, it's there in the screen. Right, so anyway, I want you to take a screenshot of this again in your mind. Okay, snapshot. And the moment you just read through it, you guys should be like, okay, I remember everything. Okay, so great. Now we'll be starting with one of this, okay, and then we'll move ahead with the next concepts. Okay, so tokens in Python, the first thing is keywords. Okay, so let's get started. So what are keywords, by the way? Like what's actually keyword is? Keyword means, if you, similar to how I just said, if you want to learn a language, you'll always learn some important words, right? And that, if I say Bhojanam Ainda, that means you guys know what I asked. Why? Because you know Telugu, okay? And I know Telugu, and we both just communicated in Telugu, okay? So the moment I spoke to you, okay, you got to know this is what I mean, right? Bro, he's asking if I had breakfast or not. That's all. You know for sure. Similarly, Python, whenever we type something, if you type some specific word, Python programming, the computer should know that, yeah, this is what he's trying to tell. Right. So those are called keywords. So keywords are already predefined. Okay. Predefined by those people who created Python. Okay. So you can see this. These are the predefined words with special meanings to the language. Okay, special meanings. So there are many keywords like this. There is false, there is class, all these things. Okay. So when you see a keyword, how to differentiate it? That's a good question. Now I'm going to show you how it's done. Okay. So now we are starting with keywords, right? That's one of the tokens in Python. Keywords. Okay. First tokens in Python. So example for keywords could be false. Okay. Could be true. Could be and. Could be or. Could be not. Could be yes, could be null. Oh, no, no, null is not a keyword. Yeah. But I'll type null anyway. It could be finally, right? It could be print. Is it? No. It could be hello. No. But it could be if. It could be else. But could be namaste. Huh. So now you guys notice, and you'll definitely know what are keywords and which are keywords, which are not keywords. It's easy, right? So anything that is highlighted like this, it's a keyword. And something which is not highlighted is not a keyword. That's it. Okay. And we use this keyword for some specific use cases. Okay. Because we need if else, we need finally, we need not, we need and. All these things are necessary. Okay. For us to understand. So these are all keywords. Now, after keywords, what's the next tokens in Python? The next tokens in Python is called identifier. So we finished with keywords. Now we are in identifiers. So what are identifiers? Come on, guys, take a guess. What do you think identifiers is? Think identifiers, identifiers, ID identifies. Yes, it identifies. But what does it identify? It identify something that we will give, right? So let's see what are those. So an identifier is the second token in Python. Okay, keyword is the first token. Okay, the second one is identifiers. Identifier means, let's say, bro, you have 10, okay? Yeah, you have 10, or yeah, so you have 10, okay? And let's say you have a name of a person, okay? I'll put in this case is John Doe, okay? Don't worry, John Doe is a common name for people whose name we don't know yet, okay? So John Doe, and then we'll put some 23.8. So see, you have an information right over here. Okay, the information says 10 John Doe and 23.8. We don't know what it is. Okay, but there is an information over here. But the moment you get an information, what do? You store it. Where do you store it? So 10 is here. I'll run it. Nothing is going to happen. But I want this 10 again. Like I want to print this. I want to print this at least, John Doe. How do I do it? So there's a problem. So I need to store this 10 in some values, in some variable. So I would say this is a number num equals 10. Okay, I said number equals 10. And when I run it and then I type num again in here, it will say 10 because 10 is stored inside num. So num right now is an identifier because it identifies 10. Okay, John Doe is the a value that I have stored in name. Name is an identifier. And what does it identify? Identifies John Doe. See? So an identifier is something, okay, that is just a name to store an item. Okay? Just a name to store an item. Now, if you're someone who's giving a name, there are some certain set of rules that you need to follow. According to not me, according to Python. Okay. So Python people gave a set of rules that we need to follow. Okay. What are those rules? Let's see. Hashtag rules. Okay. So the first rule is very important. Okay. First rule says you cannot use a keyword. You cannot use a keyword as a name. You cannot use a keyword as a name. For example, no, you can't use a keyword as a name. Okay. So the reason is, I'll show you. For example, let's say I want to use true. True is a keyword. How do you know? How do you know it's a keyword? Because it's in green. True equals, let's say I want to store file. I run this. It gave me an error. It said cannot assign to true. So I cannot assign 5 to true. Why? I cannot do that because it's against the rules, right? So that is one of the rule. You cannot use keywords as a name. So what's the next rule then? Next rule is that you cannot give a space when you choose a name. Like what? You cannot say name of person. Okay. Do you think this is going to be a variable? It's not. So it says invalid syntax. That means the structure is not proper. That means you cannot give space in between. Okay, you cannot give space in between. I want you guys to write down this in your mind, okay? Don't forget it. But if you do want to give a space, you can just actually fill it out with some underscore so that it looks like it has some space, but it doesn't. Okay, now it worked. See? So this is the second particular rule. But there is also third. Okay, because I mean when people are making rules, they won't always stop with one or two. They'll make more, right? If you are also one of that person, you will always end up making more rules, which people will tend to, break one day. It's common, it's human psychology. Okay, if you give me a key to make a rule, I'll give a lot of rules, okay, which nobody will follow for sure. So the number three is that you cannot use, any special letters except underscore. Okay. You cannot use any special letter as a name except underscore. You can't say at the rate equals 5. You can't. Okay. You can't give hashtag. Hashtag you can give, but hashtag is a comment way. You can just comment it. Okay. You cannot use star equal to 5, but you can use only one symbol that is underscore. So you can use underscore as the variable or identifier. Okay. So that's one of the rule. And what's the fourth one? The fourth one is a very important one. Okay. It says you cannot start with start with dash. What is it? Let me guess. I mean, I'll let you guys to guess. So let's say I want to store something. Okay. I want to store age is equals to some 22. Okay, age is 22, and when I type age, I'll get 22. Great. Now, I want to put the age of second person. I'll put it as age 2 equals 22. Okay, so I'll type age 2. So did age 2 work? It did. That means I can involve numbers. Great, no? I can involve numbers also. It's nice, right? But can I put number in between? Can I put in between instead of putting in the last? Is it possible? No, no thanks. So is it possible to put it in between? Not in the last. Oh, it still worked. That means number can be put here. Okay, great. But is it possible to put before A? Is it possible? The moment you see, you guys should know. It's not possible. Why? So you cannot start with numbers. Okay, but you can end with numbers. Okay. You cannot always start with a number, but you can end with a number. Okay, so that's one of the rules, guys. Okay. The next part, this is going to be the last part. Okay. That is, you cannot use only numbers as a name. You cannot use only numbers as a name. It is not possible. Okay, great, right? So these are all the 4, 5 different rules that exist when you're trying to create a second token in Python called identifiers. And without identifiers, you cannot write a Python program. Okay, so to do that, you have just gotten 4 rules that you need to follow. Okay, so you first one is, come on guys, repeat after me. You guys should say, you cannot use a keyword as a name. You cannot give space in between. You cannot use any special letters except for grade. Yes, and you cannot start with numbers, but you can end with numbers. Great. So these are the rules for second tokens in Python called identifiers. So you guys just finish keywords and then identifiers as well. Okay. So it's our time to learn the third type of tokens. And by the look of it, you guys should guess what it is. So first type is keywords, second is identifiers, third is literals. So what are literals? Let's see. Okay. So literals are often, wait, I wanted to go there. Yeah. So literals are of different things. Okay. Literals is the meaning of literal means it's a constant value, a fixed value, which is not going to change. For example, bro, let's say I just going to say that there is one Taj Mahal in this world. Okay. Do you think one Taj Mahal can go change it to two Taj Mahals? Is it possible? No, right? It's definitely going to be one Taj Mahal, right? Because that's constant. You cannot change it. That's fixed. That type of data is called literal. Okay. Now there are many type of literals. One of that is a string literal. String literal means it's a string value. What does a string mean? String means anything or everything inside single or double inverted commas. Yes. So you see hi, you see hello world. Both are coming under single or double inverted commas. So that's a string literal. And the second type of literal is called numeric literals. Okay. Numeric literals are of 4 types. Okay. One is integer, which is highly important. Okay. And the other one is float, floating point. That is decimal values. And you don't have to worry about the octal and hexadecimal. Okay. And then the third type of Boolean is true and false. True and false is a literal, and we also call that as a Boolean. Guys, this is highly important. Don't forget. Okay. Remember this. Boolean. Boolean means true, false. Okay. And there is one last thing in literal that is special literals called none. None. Okay. Special literals called none. So these are the overall literals that exist. Okay. Now we'll play a small game. Okay. We'll play a small game. The game goes like this. I'll type you guess. Okay. So the first thing is, let's say, what is this? Hmm. What do you think is this? What type of data it is? Float. Great. What type of data this is? Exactly, integer. And what type of data do you think this is? 90.0, that means 90 only, no? So it should be integer. No. 90.0 is also considered as float. Okay. And what do you think about this? Is this a number or a string? Yes, it is a string. Okay. So these are all the literals that you learned, including true and false. True and then false. Okay. So great, right? So you guys cleared out this entire thing, and this belongs to the third type of tokens in Python. Okay, called as literals. Third tokens in Python. Okay. Now the next thing is that let's say you just type any data. Okay, let's say you just type any data. For example, I put 10. Okay, this data right here is integer for sure. I know it is integer, but let's say I store this in A. Okay, and A right now is somewhere above. Let's say I didn't see A at all. Am I seeing A? No. I don't know what A is. I don't know what type of data also A is. Okay, there are two ways I can know. One is I can type A and then I'll run. I'll be like, oh, 10. Okay, A means 10. So it is an integer. Great. Okay, but there is also another way, that is by using something called as type of. Okay, type of A is going to give you int. That means it's an integer. So type of is a function that is used for finding the data type. So another one could be, let's say B is equals to some string. Okay, I'll type string itself. Okay, and then I run this. Now let's say I want to run type of B. What do you think it said? It said string. Okay, so for those of you who are still confused about this number, okay, it is not a number anymore. It's a string. Okay, see, it's a string. It is proven. Okay, so this is how you check what type of data you are dealing with. Okay, so to check the type of data you're dealing with, all you have to do is type of that data. Yes, great, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, right? So literals done, and then identifiers done, and then keywords done. What else is remaining? What else is remaining is operators. This is where things get a little bit more interesting. Okay, you want to know what operators is? Yes. So operators are often one of such, token in Python, okay, very smallest individual in Python that you need to know, okay, because I'll tell you, operators means it performs some kind of an operation, and in Python you'll always be performing any kind of operation, right? So there are many type of operators, okay, like this. This is arithmetic operator, bitwise, shift, identity, relational, assignment, and so on. Okay. So these are all called as operators. That is operators, which is the fourth type of tokens in Python. Okay, operators. Now, after operators, you have punctuator. That's going to be the last. Okay, punctuator. Punctuator is nothing but a symbols. It just symbols. This is going to be the last, and then symbols. Okay. That means if you saw that hashtag, you saw that dollar symbol and asterisk and all those things, no? Right? Those are all nothing but punctuators. So overall, to guide you, there are around like five different type of tokens in Python. Okay, that involves these things: keywords, identifiers, literals, operators, and punctuators. Okay, overall five different tokens in Python. Okay, now let me share my screen and As you see, this code right here, okay, is actually utilizing all these tokens in Python, including keywords, identifier, literals, operators, and punctuators. It's using that. Okay. See, there are hashtag for comments. There is colon, which is a punctuator. Okay. There is a equals 15. Okay. These are all some expressions. Okay. So equal to is an operator symbol. Okay. And then you see bracket plus greater than, all these things are operators. And then you see, you know, these are all syntax. So the moment you finished up with tokens in Python, okay, you are now ready for creating your own Python program. Okay. So because your foundation right now is a little bit settled. Okay. But we still need to learn more about this thing, operators, which you are going to learn in today's class. Okay. So let's go there. And before that, I want you guys to ensure about one thing. Okay, let me drink water and I'll ensure about something. So, the moment you start learning something, okay, yes, so I was saying, the moment you start learning something, what do you think is the best way to learn it? Do you believe in just watching recorded sessions, or do you believe in actually pausing the recording session, go out there in Jupyter Notebook, type what this guy is typing, get the answer, and then, oh, okay, fine, 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 fine. Unpause, you rewatch it again, right? So that's often the best way to learn something. I learned a lot of these things from YouTube, okay? But a few of them helped out, in teaching me in a better way. Few of them didn't, in YouTube, I'm saying. So I think whatever information that you're trying to get here, right, in the recorded sessions, make use of it in the class itself. Okay. Afterwards, the moment you step out of this recorded session, you should carry a lot of information that you just gathered. And you'll be like, oh, this is nice. That's nice. I learned something today. Right. So that enthusiasm is the kickstart to data science. Okay. So without that enthusiasm, data science is no longer existing in your mind. Okay. Anyway, so finishing up with all the five type of tokens in Python, including keywords, identifiers, literals, and punctuators and operators. Okay. Now we're going to learn about operators a little bit. Okay. So let me tell you about operators. So operators, there are many things. Okay. There is one thing called as arithmetic operators. Okay. There is one thing called as uh, comparative operator. I'll tell you in terms of importance, order it in terms of importance, and then you have membership operators. Okay. Then you have after membership, you have identity operators. Okay. And then you have assignment operators. Okay. Right. So these are all the main operators that exist. In this, let's actually learn about arithmetic. You would have already learned about arithmetic operators for sure. Okay, I'll tell you how. So let's say we start with arithmetic operators now. Okay, we still have a few more minutes left. We'll wrap up soon, but this is going to be easy. Let's say, bro, I have two numbers, bro. Okay, I have 10 and then 2. I want to add both. What should I do? 10 plus 2, right? Someone said calculator. No, it's not true. So 10 plus 2, 12. So I added it in Python using plus. So plus is an arithmetic operator. Okay, so arithmetic operators are like this. There is plus, there is minus, there is divided by symbol, there is something called double slash, and there is something called percentage. Okay, yeah. So these are all the things that you will have to learn now. Okay. Plus, oh, there is also you also have star, and then you also have double star. Okay, I'll tell you what are these things. So start with plus. Addition is simple. How do we do division? Sorry, subtraction. Again, simple. Okay, how do we do division? Again, simple. 10 slash 2 means you'll get 5. Okay, but you should notice something. You got 5.0, bro. You got 5.0. Okay, but what does this double slash mean? Like, I see double slash. What does it mean? Let's figure it out. I just put two slashes over here and I'll put 2. I got 5. Okay, so what does it mean? I got two slashes. Okay, I put here and I got 5. For single slash, I got 5.0. Something is fishy. Let's take another example, shall we? So another example is, let's say we do 10 divided by 3, bro. Okay, we got 3.333. Nice, right? So let's say we do 10 double divided by 3. We got 3. Oh, wait, what's happening? What's happening? Come on, guys, take a guess. Take a guess. You get 5.0 for one slash. For two slash, you'll get only 5. You got 3.3333, right? But for two slashes, you got only 3. That means double slash is going to remove whatever that exists after the dot, after the decimal point. Okay, right? So this is one of the interesting things. Cool, isn't it? So over here, what we have got is 3 and then 3.333. So your single slash is just going to be a division, but this is going to be division and then neglect entire thing that exists after the dot, after the decimal point. Okay. So four things are cleared, right? Now we'll learn about star and double star. So what does star mean? What does 10 star 2 means? It means multiplication, 20. So 10 into 2 is 20. But then what is 10 star star 2 means? It means exactly exponents. So 100. Okay. So overall 100 is what we got. That means 10 to the power 2. Okay. 10 tens are 100. So we got it. So this is into and this is exponents. Okay. And one last symbol that exists in arithmetic operator is 10 percentage 2. Okay. I'll try few cases. You guess what it is. Okay. 10 percentage 2 is 0. But 10 percentage 3 is not 0, it's 1. Okay. Why? What's actually happening? Take a guess. This symbol, percentage symbol, means reminder. Okay. So 10, if you divide with 2, no, you'll get no reminder. That is, you'll get zero reminder. Okay, 0 as a reminder because 10 is completely divisible with 2. So 2 5s are 10. Done. There is nothing leaving. But here, 3 3s are 9, but 1 is leaving for 10. 1 is still there. So that reminder is written here. So that's the use case of this. This gives the reminder. So overall, we have covered up the arithmetic operators that involves plus, minus, one single slash, double slash, okay, and then percentage symbol, star, and exponents. Okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's class, and in the tomorrow's class, okay, we'll be working more on in terms of next few concepts that will be about few more interesting things, okay, which I'll teach you in a very efficient manner. You don't have to worry about that, okay. So cool, guys. We'll see you in the next video, and thank you so much for your time. And before coming to the next session, hope you guys bring every knowledge that you just learned in this class. Okay, cool. Then see you. Bye bye. Have a great day.